What's up, guys? Welcome to this episode of Head-to-Head Battles. In today's episode, 5 questions you should be asking yourself if you consider yourself a budget player, all right? Before we dive into it, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment. Hit that notification bell to join the squad, and comment down below if you're a budget player and if you've asked yourself these questions. Before we dive any deeper into this video, guys, make sure to head over to HeadtoHeadBattles.com if you haven't picked up your Sunrise X All Might Gold and or Black metal field centers, all right? You'll see it on the screen right now. Took some epic B-roll, all right? So make sure you guys buy this before you cannot. Also, if you guys want to have these conversations live, head over to twitch.tv/headtoheadbattles. We go live every Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:30 p.m. EST. Without further ado, let's start cracking this egg. All right, so the first question you should be asking yourself is, what is your budget, or what is my budget? And you have to understand, budget is relative, okay? $100 for me might be a lot to somebody else, or might be someone's side deck to somebody else, right? So budget is relative, and you need to set a reasonable budget for yourself. You know, and you have to stay in your lane, right? So let's say you have $100 for the main deck, side deck, and extra deck. In the grand scheme of things, yes, you can finish an entire deck for $100. Is it gonna be good though, right? That's something you need to ask yourself. And you have to understand, there are some decks where the main deck is enough, where you don't need to really invest in a side deck right now. Or if you know the meta that you're playing up against, whether it be locals or with your friends, you can buy cards that can help you now and save money for cards that could help you later if you want to play elsewhere. Another really important question you should be asking yourself is your deck, or is the archetype that I've chosen good without staples, right? When you're a budget player, the one thing you're not gonna have are expensive staples. I mean, even 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring as it stands is $60. This is the card that you can buy as a common from a structure deck. You could buy 3 structure decks and have $60 worth of cards. If you can find the structure deck at that price, of course, which you're not going to. When you're choosing a deck, it needs to be good without staples if you're on a budget. Like Shaddoll's is a great deck because not only does the structure deck, if you're buying the structure decks, come with a lot of staples, but if you're buying just singles only because you want specific rarities or the lowest rarity in general, Shaddoll's is a deck where within archetype, there's a lot of cards and a lot of outs within the deck that function as you just, you know, pick up these cheaper cards. Shaddoll's is a deck that's gotten a lot of reprints, and there are a lot of decks like this. Another really good example is Salamangreats. It's touted as like one of the best budget decks because you can buy the entire deck for like $65 without staples. But you know, within archetype, Salads can do a lot. Rage, set Roar, Sunlight Wolf Pass is pretty good, but as you know, this deck is very hand trap heavy, and when we're talking about staples and you don't have them, you really have to play out of your mind to be able to, you know, do well. You can't expect to play a deck that doesn't have a lot of archetypical outs, you know, and you're relying on staples, because when you're on a budget, staples come very far and few in between, and like these are cards that you're amassing over a long period of time. But at the same time, there are a lot of decks out there that function without staples. Another really good example is Ultrageist. The next question you really have to ask yourself, and you have to be honest with yourself, is, are you a good enough player to play these budget decks, okay? When you don't have staples and you don't have all these blowout cards, the amount of mistakes you can make is literally 0. Every mistake you make is just absolutely punished, and the level of impact it has in your game state is so much more as a budget player. In Yu-Gi-Oh, you could put a really like meta tier 1 autopilot deck into the hands of a bad player, and that player might lose more games than win. In this game, the player, or rather the pilot that we like to call it, have a much bigger impact than sometimes the cards itself. So when you're asking yourself this question, am I good enough to play budget decks? This is something that you have to be really honest with yourself, okay? Not only do you have to be a good player, you have to know the meta, right? You have to know and understand that, hey, in this format, I can play with this budget deck and still see some levels of success. Obviously, you'll see more with staples because that's what blowout cards are for. And luckily, Konami does at least Konami, the TCG, they are really good with reprints, but there are some staples that just, no matter how many times you reprint, they're just insanely expensive, okay? Ash Blossom, I'm talking to you. Okay, so far we've established your budget, okay? We've also asked the question, is my deck good without staples? And on top of that, we asked the hardest question probably is, am I a good player, all right? But the next question you have to ask yourself is, what am I trying to accomplish with this budget deck, right? Am I just trying to top locals? Am I just trying to like amass OTS packs? Or am I trying to top a YCS or a regionals? There are so many sealed only challenges where they're not really budget because they're just spending so much money, like absorbent amounts of money for a very subpar deck. But there are challenges out there in the Yu-Gi tubing sphere where they try to take, you know, like a $50 deck and, you know, win a regionals or win a YCS, and it hasn't happened yet. But that's just a testament to where even good players, even if you play making zero mistakes, if your goals are too high for the deck that you've built on a budget, then you're not going to be meeting those goals, right? You can be the craziest player Yu-Gi-Oh has ever seen playing on a budget of $100. I mean, maybe you'll get top 64, but I doubt you win a YCS or a regionals. If you do, prove me wrong. And if you have done it, comment down in the comment section down below. So to wrap up question 4, right? When you're trying to accomplish something or you've set yourself a goal, the budget does have to match. At some point, right? At some point, the payoff for the amount of money you spend on cards isn't really there, right? Because like whether you spend $500 or $1,000, you're pretty much playing the same deck with like mostly the same staples, minus like a set of triple tax or a set of forbidden droplets. But I mean, they're not really too essential to the game, but these are still staples. If we're talking about payoff for the amount of money we're using versus versus where our goals and where we want to set these accomplishments, you have to figure out like where the best balancing point is and where you want to kind of give up some resources and maybe, you know, set the goal a little lower, or, you know, bring more resources in and set the goal a little bit higher. It all depends on what you yourself want to accomplish and where you think, you know, this deck can take you. But at the same time, if the goal is unreasonable, you're only going to be left frustrated and not having met your goal. All right, so now we've tackled all the difficult questions and you're asking yourself, okay, so I have all the answers to my questions. What now? What can I do as a quote unquote budget player, right? I'm going to give you some tips and tricks that you can use to sort of help, you know, your budget dream trudge along as fast as you can, all right? The biggest tip that any Yu-Gi-Oh player will tell you is always invest in staples. Before you spend $100 on a deck, listen, 3 structure decks is perfectly fine, and that's $30. And if you have $70 left over, use those on staples that you're gonna be using from deck to deck. Staples is what helps you carry you and your deck, the archetype that you're in love with, through games, and it will get you more W's, right? Imagine, you know, setting aside $60 for a playset of Ash Blossoms that you're going to be using in every single deck, right? Now, sleeving and unsleeving is really annoying, but, you know, obviously we can't afford 4 playsets of Ash. You know, we're not all pack, you know what I'm saying? Some of us are broke. I'm broke. Secret's out, okay? You have to learn how to budget correctly, right? Like, even when it comes to like, if you're eating out, you can save some of that money, eat at home, and buy Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Now, I'm not saying Yu-Gi-Oh cards is the end-all catch-all, but this game is played because we love this game. Some of us have spent thousands of dollars playing this game. Seriously, I love this game so much, I decided to quit my full-time job to make YouTube videos on this. Please like this video. All right, listen, I'm gonna help one of you guys on your journey along. I want you to comment down below a set of cards that you absolutely need, and I'm gonna pick somebody from the comments, and I'm gonna send you something out. All right. We do a lot of giveaways on this channel, not because, you know, it helps with the views or anything, but this is my way of kind of like giving back to you guys, because I can't interact with all, you know, couple thousands of you, and it's really hard. But if you join the Discord, which is in the description box down below, you know, Jen and I, we're both really active in the Discord, and we always like to extend a helping hand. All right, guys. All right, so that's it for me today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this sit down video. If you enjoy these sit down videos where, you know, it's a little bit more intimate, let me know in the comment section down below and by liking this video. All right, guys. Anyways, I freaking love you guys. I'll catch you in the next one. This is Susu from Head to Head Battles, signing out.
What's up, guys? If you haven't subscribed, make sure to click that button right there in the middle.
Also, if you haven't watched that video that YouTube is recommending you, it's probably crazy, all right? Go watch it. This is Susu from Head to Head Battles,
Head to Head Battles,
signing out.